What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Dragon Age Origins and how it desperately, at least in my opinion, needs a remaster, or at least it should get a remaster. This is one that surprised me for the longest time. We had the Mass Effect trilogy, coming out. I think that was, at this point, 2021? Feels like it was just yesterday, but actually it was, I think, 3 years ago. And I love Mass Effect. I love Dragon Age. I think I love Mass Effect a little bit more, but they did such a good job with, bringing Mass Effect 1 for sure, right, up to speed. Mass Effect 2, tinkering here and there, and largely leaving, I guess, Mass Effect 3 alone, but they did what needed to be done. And, at the time, it seemed like, okay, is this a play? Because, you're getting the next Mass Effect game. Little did we know that we're still here waiting and probably have to wait another 2 to 4 years, so it's not perfect timing. But at the same time, people were wondering, well, what about Dragon Age? And I'm here to bring that conversation back up. I think, number one, it's actually very good time, not just because of the Veilguard coming out at some point right in the fall, probably I think like a November game makes a lot of sense for it, but also we're about to celebrate the 15-year anniversary of Dragon Age Origins. Now, I am replaying, actually in the time I'm recording this video, I'm almost done. I've replayed Dragon Age Origins. I'm going to do a whole kind of love letter to it on my third channel, my retrospective channel, Podcast Now Back to the Past. It'll be live probably in a month or so from now, so check it out if you're interested. For this video, I want to stick to the game's so good. I don't want to get too much into like what makes the game so good. I want to leave that for the other video, but I want to talk about bringing it up to speed because I do think the first game is in dire need for a remaster, in which I want to talk about. But also, again, you look at the connection to, they did it for Mass Effect. They didn't do it for Dragon Age. Dragon Age, at this point, 15 years is actually quite old. It's still a timely type game. It's still an amazing game. It lines up with the Veilguard. Why can't we get this thing? So in terms of should we get it, I think it's an easy answer. I think even if you might disagree with some of the things I'm going to say about performance, which I don't really think is all that controversial, but even if you disagree, I think putting together a collection of Dragon Age 1, 2, all of the DLCs, there's so many, and there are ultimate editions to these games, but putting them all together and literally doing like a Mass Effect thing with Dragon Age, or just remastering Dragon Age 1. It's the one that needs it the most. Inquisition doesn't really need it. Dragon Age 2, take it or leave it for most people, right? It's really just that first game. And okay, well, what are some of the things with the first Dragon Age? Well, I want to walk you through very briefly my experience getting into this game, okay? Like re-getting into it, okay? So I look up what's the best way of playing this game, in 2024. And because in part, this game is trapped on last gen. Not entirely, but on one of them, it is. So I look it up and I see PC. And you go to the PC, or you go to Steam, right? And there's a lot of positivity because the game's a masterpiece. The game is so good, right? But you read a lot of those reviews, and even the most positive of all positive reviews say if you don't download mods maybe being separate, but there's a patch that you can download into this game. If you do not download it and you have a somewhat modern PC, this game is going to break on you. This game is going to crash on you. The game will not work. Now, I am an idiot when it comes to like technology. Besides, I guess maybe YouTube. It's the only thing I excel at. But when it comes to modding, when it comes to patching, it's no good. So for me, I try it. I put in a couple hours. I thought I modded it. I thought I installed the patch. Little did I know. I mean, I just fooled myself because I tried to play the game. The game crashed on me multiple times. Hitting resume game would crash the game immediately. I'd have to go to load game. And then the game ultimately just would not work and crash. So I guess I didn't install that update right. But that does go to show, I think, one small point where it's, okay, the PC angle. Is it playable on PC? Yes. Is it the best place to play it? I think specifically for the controls and the mapping and even the performance in the best case scenario, it is absolutely the best way of playing it. In fact, I was enjoying my time. I've never played it before on PC, so seeing the mapping and how you control the characters, I really liked it. Then I realized, okay, well, I can't really play it. It's possible, but you have to jump through hoops. Although people are more, technologically able nowadays versus me, I think, again, just having a remaster, can you just take all that stuff away? Can you just have a game that runs well, doesn't crash on you, all that jazz? Speaking of running well, so the one I actually chose to do, call me crazy, I actually am playing it on my PS3. I broke out my PS3. I have Dragon Age physically. I have Dragon Age Awakening physically, and I've been playing it on that. Really should have done it through Game Pass, should have done it through Xbox, because I do think the performance there is far better. It is easier, and so when I mention Dragon Age kind of being stuck, it's really only stuck on PlayStation, right? But Xbox, there are ways of playing it, and it actually runs pretty okay. PlayStation, absolute garbage, and you're going to see that reflected in my retrospective video. I love the game. It's got 10 out of 10 writing. It's got amazing characters, amazing storylines. I don't know if I've seen a game run so bad in my life, at least recently, because you kind of forget what games were like back in like 2008, this game 2009. You kind of forget about those, but replaying it, do you realize, oh boy, I mean, not every game. Prototype wasn't like that. Infamous was pretty bad, but Dragon Age Origins is about 10 times worse than Infamous in terms of the frame rate, in terms of performance. I've thought multiple times my PlayStation was going to explode just trying to run that thing. So just want to throw that out there, that from the simple performance and ease, a remaster needs to happen. I want to talk about some other quick things maybe they can fix inside the game, but just in terms of having your game run at a stable frame rate, I don't even care what it is. You want to do 30, you want to do 60, you want to do 20, because I'm sure it's running at like 7 frames per second. So can we just up that and keep it consistent, number one? But no, again, that ease of playing it. It does work on Xbox. It does work on PC, but you do have to jump through hoops. If you have a modern PC, I have a 3080, which isn't even the newest one anymore, and you got 3090s, you got the 40s, and you're going to get the 50s. If you have those and you don't install that patch, you just go in blind saying, I want to relive my childhood, get ready to not relive it because the game's going to crash. So those are things I think a remaster gets rid of just immediately. Then when you get inside the game, well, besides performance, I think probably things of just like arranging things different ways. Some of like the quest structure. Look, I like the quest, but maybe not even necessarily how they're given out, but I guess how they're organized. Also, I guess how inventory is organized. It's something that, look, I played this game when it first came out. I rented this game. I really didn't know much about it. I was also new to like the RPG scene. Nowadays, it's like the way you're comparing things and the way things are listed in the inventory, I would just like them changed to make it easier on me. I feel like just quality of life things that if you release Dragon Age Origins in 2024 as an RPG, like what are some mechanics, what are some like item kind of customization things that you would expect, whether it's inventory or how you see a quest or how the quest is laid out in the map and things like that. All of those things are so much more clean and accessible nowadays versus what they were. And I'm not saying dumb down the game. I'm not saying make it easy, like none of that stuff. But I am saying I think there's some things that just wouldn't look like that, wouldn't be organized in the way that was in current day. Besides that, I don't really think anything needs to be changed. The game is so good. If you're remastering it, you're going to make it look a little bit more pretty. So when I'm raining down lightning, when I'm raining down a firebolt or whatever, I mean, it would obviously look a little bit different nowadays versus then. But for me, it's about kind of the templates and how things are organized and like laid out for us. And then the performance, and then connecting it to, you did it with Mass Effect, you have Dragon Age in a weird spot where it is accessible, but it's also kind of not. It's not the most inaccessible, okay? There's games that are worse, but it's also not the most either. And it's a franchise that's very popular. The first game is very popular. Oh, and by the way, I mentioned mods, with the PC. Throw in some mods. There's quite a few mods that, fix things, like some in the beginning, right? When you have to pass the passing, or you have to go through it, and you have to drink. I believe in a version of the game, you can't actually see like the chalice, and there's a mod that like puts it back. And so there are some mods that literally just fix the game. Maybe if audio is broken, a mod kind of fixes it, or it adds things that were cut to a character or whatever. Those are things you could most of them pretty easily. Some of them would be more like maybe even DLC type content that you could very easily just put into the games. There's a lot of people that put a ton of work into those things, and to have them either recognized or to just have those issues addressed, because some of them are legitimate issues that you forced the average Joe, right, to fix things up for you, just to kind of fix that entire situation would be pretty nice. But I really want it to happen, and I feel like there were rumors that like maybe it was going to, but they pulled back and they weren't going to do it. I mean, even if you wait till after the Veilguard, like if you're looking for something like that team, the Dragon Age team, if you're looking for something kind of smaller to do after making, I'm sure, the big game that is Veilguard, right? Just go. I'm sure there's DLC for it and stuff that'll happen eventually too. But if you got some free time, if you got some free staff, I don't think it'd be that difficult to either the first game or you do like a duo type thing with 1 and 2. I mean, I really feel like it's right there. They're popular enough, and I think there's genuine want for it. I think there's an appetite, and I think there's money for it too. If you want some money, to kind of tide you over, I feel like you can get some by doing this Dragon Age idea. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.